We hear the term polar vortex a lot, especially when winter turns wild. But what is it really? Is it just a buzzword or something more? The polar vortex is a swirling mass of freezing air that usually stays locked over the North Pole, circling endlessly, kept in place by powerful winds. But sometimes the jet stream weakens and that icy air escapes, spilling southward. In 2018 and again in 2021, that frigid air broke free and swept across the UK, bringing chaos and cold in its wake. The Met Office called it the Beast from the East, a name that stuck for good reason, capturing the drama and the danger of what was unfolding. For a country used to mild winters, this was a shock to the system. Temperatures plunged to -10, and snowstorms battered the nation for days on end. It wasn't just cold, it was relentless. Wind chills cut to the bone, snow-buried cars, and roads became impassable. Even the most prepared struggled to keep up. Entire villages were cut off, isolated by drifts that made travel impossible, and daily life ground to a halt as people hunkered down. The UK looked more like the Arctic than the temperate island we know. Rivers froze, fields disappeared under white, and familiar places became unrecognizable. These events tested our infrastructure and our resilience. Trains stopped, buses vanished from the roads, and power lines snapped under the weight of ice. But they also brought out the best in people. Stories of struggle, yes, but also of community and kindness. Neighbors checked on each other, and volunteers braved the cold to deliver supplies. The pretty snow pictures don't tell the whole story. Behind every snowman and snowball fight, there were real hardships. For many, it was a genuine fight to stay warm and safe. Elderly people wrapped in blankets, families huddled together, hoping the heating would hold out. The real heart of the big freeze, ordinary people doing extraordinary things just to get by, walking miles for groceries, pushing cars out of drifts, and sharing what little they had. It's easy to forget the details now, but those days changed us. The memories linger, shaping how we prepare for winter even today. The Beast from the East wasn't just a weather event, it was a national experience. Something that united us in adversity and resilience. It forced us to stop, adapt, and look out for one another. In the face of adversity, communities grew stronger and new bonds were formed. And that's where our story begins, a tale of cold courage and the warmth of human spirit in the harshest of winters. The warnings started as a whisper, sudden stratospheric warming, but soon turned to severe and dangerous. Maps turned purple and the country braced itself. The first flakes fell and excitement quickly gave way to concern. Supermarket shelves emptied and people dug out old coats and wondered if their boilers would last. By day 2, the reality hit. This wasn't a winter wonderland, but a lockdown by nature. Roads and railways shut down, and for many the world shrank to their own street. Rural villages were cut off by 10-foot drifts, farmers worried for their livestock. The silence was broken only by wind and distant sirens. The Beast from the East was no longer a novelty, it was a crisis. Communities faced isolation, and survival became the focus. The country held its breath, waiting for the storm to pass. This was winter at its most unforgiving. Meet the Davies family from Lincoln, a typical British family facing an extraordinary winter. Sarah, Mark, and their 2 kids, Chloe and Leo, were used to chilly weather, but nothing quite like this. At first, the snow was magical. Snowmen in the garden, mugs of hot chocolate, and laughter echoing through the house as they watched the world turn white. But on the second night, disaster struck. Their old boiler died and the house quickly turned icy cold, every breath visible in the frigid air. They huddled together in one bedroom, wrapped in every blanket they owned, wearing coats, hats, and even scarves indoors just to keep warm. Mark tried desperately to find a plumber, but no one could get through the thick snow that blocked the roads and driveways. Days without heat became a true test of endurance as the family struggled to stay warm and keep their spirits up. To keep spirits up, they pretended to be Arctic explorers, telling stories by torchlight, playing make-believe, and eating soup heated on a camping stove in the kitchen. The real fear was what might happen if the power went out, or if someone got sick in the freezing conditions, far from help. But the experience brought them closer. They talked, played games, and truly relied on each other for comfort and strength. Chloe started a survival diary, turning hardship into adventure, recording every challenge and every small victory. The Davies story was echoed in thousands of homes across the UK as families everywhere faced the same bitter cold. In crisis, it was human connection that mattered most, holding hands, sharing warmth, and supporting each other. Families everywhere found resilience they didn't know they had, discovering new ways to cope and care for one another. The Big Freeze turned ordinary homes into fortresses of warmth and hope, where love and togetherness became their greatest shield. And it reminded us all, together we can weather any storm, no matter how cold or dark it may seem. While families huddled at home, seeking shelter from the relentless storm and watching the snow pile up outside their windows, thousands of people found themselves trapped on the roads, caught off guard by the sudden whiteout, and unable to move forward or turn back. David, a lorry driver on the M62, was stuck for an agonizing 22 hours as snow and fierce winds made driving impossible, turning the motorway into a frozen parking lot. His cab became an island in a sea of stranded vehicles, with only a flask of coffee and a packet of biscuits for comfort as he waited and hoped for rescue. The worst part? The isolation and uncertainty, the endless hours of not knowing when help would arrive, or if the storm would ever let up. As fuel ran low and cars became iceboxes, hope seemed to fade. People shivered in the dark, wrapped in whatever they could find, trying to stay warm. But then, local heroes emerged from the blizzard, determined to help those in need, despite the dangerous conditions. Residents from nearby towns braved the blizzard, bringing food, hot drinks, and words of encouragement to the stranded motorists. They handed out blankets to drivers, offering warmth and comfort in the freezing night, reminding everyone they weren't alone. Doctors and nurses checked on the vulnerable, turning a nightmare into a rescue mission, making sure no one was left behind in the cold. David remembers a stranger knocking on his window at midnight, handing him hot soup, a simple act of kindness that meant everything in that moment. Volunteers waded through deep snowdrifts, risking their own safety to help others, determined to reach every stranded car and lorry. The gridlock became a testament to community spirit, as people shared what little they had and looked out for one another. In the darkest hours, strangers became saviors, forming bonds that would last long after the snow melted. The beast from the east revealed the strength and resilience of ordinary people, showing how compassion can shine brightest in adversity. It was a night no one would forget, a night when the cold was fierce, but the warmth of human kindness was even stronger, and it restored faith in humanity. One cup of soup, one shared blanket, and one caring gesture at a time. Sometimes the greatest warmth comes not from the heater, but from each other, proving that even in the harshest storms, community can light the way. While most stayed home, a hidden army kept the country running. Gritter drivers, energy workers, and engineers braved the storm to keep roads open and power flowing. Gritter drivers worked relentless shifts, often sleeping in depots, battling blizzards to clear main routes. Energy workers faced downed power lines and frozen pipes, trekking through snow to restore heat and light. Their work was dangerous, exhausting, and vital. One gas engineer in Scotland worked 18-hour days, bringing warmth back to freezing homes. These workers didn't seek praise, they just did their jobs, knowing people depended on them. Their efforts kept the country from grinding to a halt. They were the front line in the fight against the freeze. In the worst conditions, they made a real difference. The unsung heroes of the Big Freeze deserve our thanks. Without them, the crisis would have been far worse. Amid the hardship, there was unexpected joy. With life on pause, families and neighbors found time for each other, Streets and parks filled with laughter as people sledged, built snow sculptures and rediscovered simple pleasures. Communities came alive, sharing creativity and camaraderie. The snow forced a digital detox, board games, books, and real conversations returned. For children, these were magical days they'd never forget. The chaos faded, but the memories of joy and togetherness endured. Even in crisis, beauty and connection found a way. When official systems struggled, communities stepped up. Volunteers with 4x4s ferried essential workers, neighbors checked on the vulnerable. People shared food, heaters, and support without hesitation. In Glasgow, residents organized daily checks on the elderly. In Norfolk, a bakery gave away bread to those in need. Pubs became shelters, and strangers became friends. The crisis stripped away reserve and revealed generosity. The strongest safety net was the people next door. The snow melted, but the spirit of community lingered. Why was the beast from the east so memorable? It was a perfect storm. Siberian air, dry and bitterly cold, swept over the North Sea, picking up moisture and dumping heavy snow across the UK. Gale-force winds created deep drifts and brutal wind chills. Unlike typical snow events, this one hit almost the entire country, even London. It became a shared national experience, dominating headlines and conversations. Events like this are rare in our warming climate, a true once-in-a-generation freeze. It reminded us of nature's power and our own vulnerability. That's why it's etched in our collective memory. When the thaw came, it left more than puddles. It left lessons. The freeze exposed weaknesses in our infrastructure and forced a rethink of how we prepare for extreme weather. People learned the value of resilience and self-reliance. Emergency kits and backup plans became essentials, but the biggest lesson was about community. The snow forced us to connect, to help, and to rely on each other. Neighbors became friends, and those bonds lasted long after the snow melted. The beast from the east showed our weaknesses, but also our strengths. In the coldest moments, the warmth of human spirit shone brightest.